Hey, this is Eddie Olczyk. You're listening to Empty Betters with Nick, Mac, and Harrison.
Good morning, everybody, and welcome back to episode 101 of Empty Betters. I'm your host, Harrison Scholes. I'm going to toss it across the screen to my co-host, Nick Manella. How we doing, buddy?
Doing good, man. It was good to see you at dinner the other night. I think I'm still working off the cow and a half that we ate, but I mean, what a time that was. Absolutely just unreal dinner experience.
Great time. Found my love for espresso martinis, so that's probably a dangerous thing as I'm about to go on vacation here. But you know what? I personally couldn't taste a thing, which is probably a good thing, to be honest. So, yeah, first time having an espresso martini, and it was freaking delicious. You're missing out if you don't know.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna toss it across the screen to my other co-host, Mac Vogel. How we doing?
Doing well. Coming off a big old beer league win last night, which was a lot of fun. Got a 6-1 dub against Milwaukee Tool, which is also the same score that the Capitals beat the Penguins by last night. So I am in a great mood today.
Yeah, we'll get to that in a little bit. So moving on to more important. No, I'm just kidding. It was a. Should we just do this right now? Is that how we should do it?
It's up to you. When do you want to get it over with?
Yeah.
All right, so we're recording this on Monday, November 15th. Obviously, the Capitals and Penguins played last night for their first meeting of the season at Capital One Arena. And to put it quite frankly, the Capitals slaughtered the Penguins 6-1. Tough one for me to swallow. I definitely got a lot of DMs and text messages about that. So your hatred is appreciated. The Caps are good.
Would have been the second time too that the Penguins were trailing by 5 goals in a couple of games, right? They were down 5-0 to the Senators a couple nights before too.
Yes, and we will get to some gambling tips for the Penguins here in the episode at the end, but the Caps are very good. Alex Ovechkin is on a different planet, which pains my soul to say out loud. I'm having real conflict, and I'm getting asked a lot of questions here, like, oh, like you're a Caps fan. I'm like, I am absolutely not a Caps fan. I can promise you that.
Closeted, but
and
it's
so,
cool.
what'd you say?
I said you're a closeted Caps fan.
No. I can't do that. So here's what I'll say. I like Garnet Hathaway. We met him in person. I like Nick Dowd. We met him in person. Cool guys. Garnet scores yesterday. I'm like, okay, fine. Craig starts doing his like Homer thing where I'm like, God damn it. Like he's trashing the Penguins power play. And I'm like, our two best players haven't been on the fucking ice all season, Craig. Like cut us some slack.
Fair.
But you know what? I can respect them a little more than I used to. I'll say that, but I am by no means rooting for them. And especially when you guys steal all of our players and then they score on us. I'm not a huge fan of that. But yeah, the Capitals are very good. The Penguins are not very good right now. I'm a little panicked. So that's all I'm going to say. If you guys have any thoughts, shoot away.
Yeah, I thought the Caps looked great last night. They dominated the walls for once, which was nice. Transitions through the neutral zone save for a couple hairy moments, in the first period. And then the second, I thought were pretty decent. Breakouts look great. The Van Riemsdyk breakout pass to Ovechkin was about as perfect as you can get. I think it would have been the play of the night had it not been for Ovi's slap pass to Hathaway. But just a great performance by them. Vanacek was good when he needed to be. Defense looks solid. So yeah, can't complain.
Yeah, it was a good defensive game. I was gonna say that too. I honestly will say it was a really good game, like through 2 periods. I had to leave for my beer league game when it was still 2-1. There was just it was like the last TV time out of the second period. And I have like the ESPN Plus app, so I was watching it on the car or listening in the car on my phone, and it wasn't it to me. It was not a 6-1 game. Like it was probably more of like a 3-1 game. Pens made a couple of mistakes that the Caps seemed to capitalize on, based on what I saw watching the highlights of the stuff I missed. But that Ovechkin pass, definitely my favorite part of the night. I love seeing him with these like really nice playmaking passes, especially, the Caps are missing Nicholas Backstrom. He's usually the go-to guy for that kind of thing. And it's just awesome seeing Ovi kind of like pick up for where Backstrom like would normally be contributing. Ovechkin has 14 assists now. So, and another cool stat I like about him right now is he only has one power play goal, and he's got like 12, 13 goals or something like that now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So that's kind of sick too.
He's playing out of this world, and I didn't know much about this guy until probably 3 games ago when I bet on the Caps for the over against the Jackets. But that guy is Martin Feravari. Is that his name?
Yeah.
He's sick.
He is good.
Yeah.
Great speed, great skater.
You're talking about the guy that Crosby manhandled.
I was going to say, yeah.
We'll get to that in a second. Craig did drop the Scott Niedermayer comparison. A little premature in my opinion.
He did.
Yeah. Even Joe B called him out for that. He was like, that's awfully nice company comparing a guy who's only played like 5 games or whatever the fuck. But
arguably the greatest offensive defenseman of all time.
Right.
Yeah. No, it's funny because Joe just goes, yeah, anytime you can get your name mentioned in that sentence is a great thing. And I was just like, oh, he's trying to play it cool. So let's get to I'll use the word tackle because that's what I've been hearing a lot of.
Yeah.
This whole Crosby tackling Feravari type thing.
Clown shit.
Let me start my argument with this. Yeah, it's a dirty play. It's a dirty play. Probably should have gotten a penalty. I'm not going to argue that. The whole Tom Wilson's trending right now. He's not even involved in the fucking play, but he's trending because every Caps fan is like, if Tom Wilson did this, he'd be suspended for 20 games, blah, blah, blah. And I guess my reaction is like, yeah, you're right. Like, I don't really understand what you're saying. Like, if you have a history of being suspended a lot and you do something like that, you're probably going to get suspended. If I saw that Crosby got a 1-game sussy, or maybe 2, but I'll use 1, I'd be like, okay, like, probably, yeah, whatever. But like, this is like earth-shattering, like emotional support needing shit from the Caps fan base, and I'm a little confused by it. I mean, any comment? Like,
I didn't necessarily think it was suspendable. I would have been okay with 1 game, but when I saw it live, I was like, how do you not call anything there?
Yeah, I'll give you that.
I agree. I don't think it was like egregious. I think 1 game I would have been like, okay, cool. Glad to see the NHL like doing.
It should have gotten a penalty.
Penalty for sure. I guess it would have been like interference or just roughing or something like that. But
so like to compare it, and not that we should be comparing these because they're completely different. Tucker Poolman swings his stick at someone's head the other night and got like instantly tossed and suspended 2 games. Is it anywhere close to that? Absolutely not. But it warranted something, in my opinion.
Yeah. I just think it's getting a little blown out of proportion. Like, geez, like, come on, it was a bad play. He probably shouldn't have done it.
How much time was left when it was late, right? Or no?
Late. Yeah, it was late. I think it was like last 30 seconds, something like that.
Okay. Yeah.
Game's over.
Yeah. The only part of it that I like is that I think it's kind of funny that Crosby was obviously very frustrated after getting blown out in Cap One Arena, and it was, his return to the lineup was supposed to be like this big thing. So that was kind of cool, but
nice. Yeah, nice. Good.
Yeah.
Good. That's all I'm going to say on the game. We will be so Nick and I will be at the game on December 10th at Cap One. Come hang out, get some beers.
Yeah,
get some
look
food,
for us.
Whatever. But I will be sporting my Crosby jersey there. So 1, hopefully they win. And 2, it would be great to have a revenge game. We'll see. But we will be there on December 10th. Now that we've got the Caps pens out of the way, do you guys have any further comments? Are you good?
No, I'm good.
Yeah.
Okay. So a couple things before we get rolling here. Fall merch drop. Please go look at the store, emptybetters.com. Click on shop. It is going to be up there. Christmas is around the corner.
Show your sweatshirt for the YouTubers.
Yeah, looks good.
Yeah, this is our Adidas crew neck. It's very comfortable, honestly. Fits true to size. I've already washed and dried it twice. No shrinkage. Christmas is around the corner. Shipping's a nightmare right now, so please get your orders in soon. But yeah, go check out the merch store at emptybetters.com. The giveaway that we're doing, if you haven't seen already, we are doing a giveaway for 2 hockey jerseys, 2 whiskey glasses, and a Brackish
One
Life
hockey
t-shirt.
jersey.
1 hockey jersey. Sorry.
Stop giving away our shit for free.
I apologize. Yeah. That's going to be on our Instagram page. You'll see the instructions of what to do. So go check that out. We're posting it on our story as a reminder pretty much daily. So keep a lookout for that.
It's great. You hit 3 buttons on your phone and you have a chance to win like $100 worth of free stuff.
Yeah. And we already got a couple good number of entries. I think we're in like the 70s or something like that. So go join if you haven't already. And then I'm going to toss it to Mac for the question of the day.
Yeah, I've been thinking of these on the fly a lot. I did the same thing this week, but I think a fitting question for right now, since we just talked Caps Pens, is, and we've probably discussed this question slightly before, but I want to get your guys' official answer. What is currently the best rivalry in the NHL? And I also want to know what you think is just historically the best rivalry in sports.
So active NHL and historically in sports.
Yep.
Active NHL, I feel like you have 2 really obvious choices and then like a bunch of other ones that are just because they're near each other.
What are you thinking?
So my 2 obvious ones, like obviously over the last 10, 15 years, the predominant rivalry has been Caps Penguins. They've had the league's 2 premier superstars. The teams have been relatively almost identically matched for those 15 years. So that's the one that jumps to mind. I know there's a homer bias in there, but still. And then Battle of Alberta, and like I think the last 5 years has really come on strong again. But again, obviously that's with it being, basically a WWE match with a hockey game next to it. So
fair enough.
Yeah, I'd say as far as current, 10, 15 years, yeah, I agree with Caps Pens. That Battle of Alberta is definitely a good one too. I'm just trying to think here. I mean, there was some good battles, especially when we talked with Versteeg between the Hawks and the Canucks in the early 2010s. I'm trying to think here. I think Florida and Tampa is on the come up. I think that's going to be a good one.
That is a good one. They've been playing really good games recently too. Like that last one went to overtime, and obviously their playoff series recently was awesome.
That was an awesome playoff series. What about, I mean, like, I know this, we're talking right now, but like, I go back to the 90s. I think like Rangers Devils in the 90s was awesome.
True.
Wings Avalanche in the 90s was awesome.
Yeah.
Can I talk about 2 that I think are on the come up, like 2 budding rivalries that I think are sparking heavily right now? One of them, this isn't really anything new, but it's definitely the fire is being stoked, would be Caps Rangers, because we've talked about that a lot recently, and Caps and Rangers have never liked each other, but I think it's becoming more of like an actual blood rivalry than it used to be. And the other one that, and this might be more of a hot take, but I'm slowly seeing these 2 teams hate each other more and more. And I think it's because they kind of want to be the same thing in the NHL. And that would be Nashville and Carolina.
Yeah, that playoff series last year was nasty too.
And their Twitters are always beefing with each other, and the whole like banner thing that has become like a big meme where they're like making fun of Nashville for raising banners about shit. And they both are like quote unquote Southern hockey teams that are trying to lean into that market. And it's like, this town ain't big enough for the both of us type of
That's a good one. There's a couple other ones out there that you could say. I mean, some Canadian ones. Yeah, someone was asking me about this the other day, and like, they said like, what about Toronto and Boston? And yeah, those are heated playoff series, but they do tend to go one way.
Yeah.
Hard to call it a rivalry when it goes one way all the time. An underrated one, just because of the amount of shade that they throw at each other. Montreal and Carolina.
Yeah.
With the Aho offer sheet, and then the
although I think the Canes just made like some huge donation to the Habs charity or something.
They did, but then the Kotkaniemi offer sheet. I don't know if you guys know this. I read this on Twitter. This was at the start of the season, but apparently the game before they played each other, like at the start of the season, I think the Canes had Aho and Kotkaniemi t-shirts go on their store for $20 because that's like what the offer sheet was.
That was the signing bonus for Aho's offer sheet was $20.
Yeah, and they had like a discount code like bonus 20 or something. I was like, they throw more shade than anybody. Their social media manager needs a raise for sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think those are some of the good ones.
There's a lot of good ones, honestly.
Mac, what would you say is the best all time
in all of sports?
Yeah.
A few come to mind right away. I would say Yankees Red Sox has got to be one right off the bat that I think of. I'm trying to think of like each major sport. Greatest one in hockey might end up being like Red Wings Avalanche or Red Wings Blackhawks or like one of those age-old rivalries or something like that.
I mean, the one that's going to jump to everyone's brain is Montreal Boston, but
true.
that
That's
also
true.
was like 1,000 years ago. So
yeah, but there's been like highlights of it, like moments of it in the past like decade or
and
two.
when they
where
play
it's
in the
like,
playoffs, it usually
Exactly.
goes 7. So
Exactly. I'm trying to think like basketball and football. What are two like really big ones?
Used to be Celtics Lakers.
Mhm.
That was a big one.
True. Or like, I mean, the fucking Cavs and the Warriors, because they would always play each other like
Yep.
every year.
Ravens Steelers is definitely a big
Ravens
one.
Steelers a
is
good
big.
one.
What's like the Cowboys one? Don't they hate somebody?
The Washington
football
football team.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
okay. Yeah.
Even though I feel like the football team hasn't been relevant in forever, so it kind of
Yeah.
diminished the value of that. I think Michigan and Ohio State's definitely a good one too.
True.
a good
Yeah,
one.
you can't just think major sports. That's fair. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of them.
Michigan MSU is a great one as well.
Yeah.
There's a lot of them. No matter who you pick, someone's going to be
Exactly.
upset about it.
Dale
so.
Earnhardt and Jeff Gordon. I mean, they're all great rivalries.
I know someone who's going to like that one. Actually, I know a couple listeners who are going to like that one. But let's get into the news here. But before we do, just let you know, this episode is brought to you by Brackish Life. Take a minute to talk about Brackish Life. If you're like us and grew up on the water and outdoors, then Brackish Life is perfect for you. They have a wide selection of gear from UV shirts to hoodies and hats. It's Real Bay apparel made by Real Bay people. Head to www.brackish.life today to check them out. A little salty, a little fresh, Brackish Life. Brackish Life has also teamed up with Rink to Reef Chesapeake Bay to preserve the area many of us call home. Rink to Reef repurposes broken hockey sticks into oyster restoration habitats. Brackish Life donates a portion of their proceeds to Rink to Reef to further preserve the beautiful Chesapeake Bay area. Support this great cause by checking out www.brackish.life today. Just want to take a moment to reflect that in the first 10 episodes, we were like, oh my God, one day we're going to have a sponsor and it's going to be fucking sick. And like, that would be the coolest thing. And I've done that ad read so many times now. And it's just crazy how like time goes by and it's just weird. I don't know. Just taking a moment to acknowledge that and thanking Kyle for his support. So
yeah, congrats to Kyle too. They just opened up another shop, I think, in St. Michael. So if you're down on the Eastern Shore, go down and see him and say hello.
That's awesome.
For sure. So I'm going to toss it to Nick to take us through the league news.
Well, we talked about the Caps Penguins game, which was last Sunday night. But that wasn't my favorite Caps game of the week. My favorite Caps game of the week and favorite hockey game of the week, and so far favorite hockey game of the year, has to be Caps Red Wings this past week, where our buddy Zach Fucale gets his first NHL start and completely whitewashes the Red Wings, stops all 21 shots in a 2-0 shutout. I mean, what a story this was.
I'm absolutely over the moon about it. If you're watching on YouTube, I'm like celebrating right now. I am so happy for this guy. It's awesome to have gotten to know him a little bit over the last couple of times he's come on the podcast. Like Nick said, what a story. This guy's whole career has been awesome, an absolute workhorse, great example of perseverance. And yeah, just couldn't be happy for him. It was a great game. He made a lot of really good saves, especially early on. The Caps looked like dog shit for the first 10 minutes of that game. And Fucale made some really nice saves to get the team going. And then from there on out, it was kind of the opposite. The team sort of rallied around that, and they played a really good defensive game for the last, 40 minutes or so of that game.
Yeah, I mean, once he had the shutout going into the second intermission, I was like, these guys are going to play their absolute dicks off for him to get that shutout in the third. So I'm just so happy for Zach. And, regardless of what team he plays for, I just can't help but have a smile on my face watching that. I mean, for those of you who haven't listened, he gets drafted in the second round by the biggest hockey market in the world, the Montreal Canadiens, in 2013. He's bounced all over different leagues, just 2 seasons ago, he was in the ECHL for the South Carolina Stingrays, playing with our buddy Dan DeSalvo. Works his way up to Hershey last year and does great with Phoenix Copley. And then this year he's tearing it up in the AHL. Finally gets his shot at the National League and gets a shutout in his first game with his parents in the stands. I don't know if you guys saw the video, but his mom is like crying. His dad is like just so overjoyed, and it was just awesome. And his post-game presser was probably the coolest thing I've seen in a while.
It's one of the better ones I think we've seen in a long time. He was just so happy, just completely on cloud nine, and didn't have any idea what he was saying at all. But
one of the greatest things about this kid is he's a talker, and he loves telling stories. He's a really like honest guy, and that's cool because a lot of players who make their debut and are in big moments like that get these interviews, they're not used to being interviewed. They're nervous, which is all natural, obviously, but it's tough to like give good interviews and stuff like that. But it was really interesting. He had a lot to say. He was just really candid, I thought. And didn't try to hide anything, just was fine showing how happy he was, showing his emotion, didn't try to downplay it or anything. So can't say enough. We could probably do a whole like 30-minute segment about just this game and how happy we are for Zach. So
yeah, it was awesome. I mean, I was, the last 10 seconds, I know they had like a whistle or two in there, and I was standing up in front of the TV, like shaking and everything. I'm like, oh my God.
He made a couple saves in the last like 2 minutes of the game.
He did.
Like, nothing to sneeze at. They were pretty good.
And a real huge credit to Alan May and Alexa Landestoy for kind of just letting him talk. I mean, trust us. We've interviewed him. Sometimes he can go, and you just got to let him go, especially in a moment like that. So credit to those two for letting him just say his stuff. I mean, it's a great moment.
To the whole NBC Sports Washington staff for not saying shootout or not saying shutout within the last 5 minutes of the game, because they kept cutting to them, and you could like tell it's like them and Joe and Craig. It's like, that's all that's on anyone's mind. Just shut up and just keep talking about something else, but not the shutout.
Yeah. I tried to not think about it. Of course, it was literally on my mind after it was 1-0 after the first period. I was like, no way. But I just kept trying to tell myself, I was like, nope. And then it wasn't until there was like 5 minutes left in the third that I was like, okay, fuck, I can't ignore this any longer. I really this is all I'm trying to like channel right now is like, shut out. But it's true. You can't say it out loud.
Yeah. Big time.
Great night for hockey. Great night for Zach. Story of the season so far, in my opinion. And we're just real happy for him. So
absolutely. Yeah. We have some breaking news. This came out like 2 hours ago. The Ottawa Senators' next 3 games, that's against the Devils, Predators, and Rangers, respectively, have been postponed due to the team's COVID-19 outbreak. I think it's worth noting here, Pierre LeBrun tweeted this in response to this, that the NHL and NHLPA can technically still opt out of the Olympics up to January 10th if more games like this get postponed, and they're going to need to reschedule them.
Yeah, I mean, let's just hope this is one of those odd scenarios and it's not going to carry over into anything else. I do think, the Penguins were riddled with the COVID out, not quite to this degree, but they had some COVID cases themselves, just played in Ottawa a couple of days ago. Some of those guys were held out already, but that would really suck if we can't get NHL players in the Olympics. I think we can all universally agree on that. So hopefully this is just an oddball.
That would definitely suck. Hoping for the best with this. Also, I'm hoping that unlike last year, now that like most guys are vaccinated, this won't be the kind of thing where it's like, oh shit, the team that just played them is also about to break out, and then they just played the Caps, so then the Caps are going to break out. Like, hopefully the vaccine will at least like stop all of that like domino effect from happening. But yeah, definitely something to keep our eye on.
Yeah, I think a mass rescheduling of games, like if that had like happened in the next 2 months, I think that would just be an absolute season killer for the league.
Yeah, well, I don't know if it'd be a season killer for the league, but I think it might kill the Olympics just because the schedule's already condensed as is for that break. And then you start having outbreaks and reschedules, and it's going to become a nightmare. So
it's going to be a disaster. They're going to lose a ton of money, and they're not going to be able to do what they want. And if they lose a ton of money, then they're going to make a ton of changes.
Yeah.
Anaheim, they stay red hot. Zegras powers them to their 7th straight win last night. Troy Terry's point streak goes to 14 games, cashed in on that. That was nice. Other hot teams around the league right now include Nashville, Carolina, Toronto, and Vegas, who are all 8-2 in their last 10 games, respectively. Ryan Getzloff has just reverted back like 10 years and has 17 points in 16 games this season.
Scooped him up on fantasy like a week ago.
It's a good pickup. Anyone on the Ducks is a good pickup right now. I got Cam Fowler, who's averaging 2 fantasy points a game. So if you're in a fantasy league, not mine, go check that out. The Toronto Maple Leafs are red hot right now. Willie Nylander, aka Willie Styles, looks like a man on a mission. He's got 8 points in his last 7. As I mentioned, Toronto's 8-2 in their last 10. You know who's not hot is Arizona, and I'm not going to say anything else about it because I'm tired of talking about it every single week. But some other struggling teams include Seattle, Vancouver, and Ottawa. And Vancouver's off to their worst start since 1997. I don't know if you guys saw what head coach Travis Green had to say about that, but
What did he say?
he basically said, he's like, I understand why people have zero faith in this hockey team.
Oh my
Holy
God.
shit.
Yeah.
All right, so a lot to unpack here. Let's chat a little bit. So I love William Nylander. I think he's awesome. The hair, the style, the custom stick. I just can't get enough of it. I might have to get a Willie Styles jersey. But he is a man on a mission. He's been played on 3 different lines in the last like 6 games. Some nights he's with Matthews, some nights he's with Tavares, some nights he's on the 3rd line. I mean, he's going all over the place and he doesn't give a fuck who's on his line. He just keeps going. So the Leafs, dangerous. I'm a little
Hot
happy
right
about
now.
that.
Hot
they
right
are,
now.
They are hot. Arizona, they have 3 points and we're almost at Thanksgiving.
Like, I didn't think it was going to be this bad. This is like worse than last year Buffalo Sabres bad.
I feel so bad for like Jay Beagle, and isn't Travis Boyd on that team too?
Is he?
I believe he is. Or if he's not, he was last year, something like that. 3 points. That's tanking to a different level. I think it's worth noting they lead the league in penalty minutes by a wide margin. I think they're like 60 more PIMs above Seattle, who's second. I looked that up today.
No, I'm no scientist, but something tells me that might have something to do with why they're losing so many games.
That's that big brain acting up again.
I'm just speculating here.
Yeah.
I don't know.
We got Margarita Mac and we've got Mathematician Mac.
Yeah, there we go.
It's adding up. It's adding up. Put that on a t-shirt.
There you go. The Columbus Blue Jackets are going to retire Rick Nash's number on March 5th. That's number 61. If you paid attention to our counting game, Nash is going to be the first player in Jackets franchise history to receive that honor. They drafted him first overall back in 2002. The 5-time All-Star during his time in Columbus ended up becoming the franchise leader in games played, goals, assists, and points. And he was also the team's captain from 2008 to 2012. I think this is pretty fitting.
I think it's dope. I'm actually really excited about this. Rick Nash was one of those players that was like really good right when I was like becoming the age where I actually enjoyed watching hockey on TV. Like, I want to say 2008 to 12 was when he was a captain. Yeah. So when I was in like middle school, elementary school, middle school, going into high school and stuff, he was a great player to watch. I mean, I don't want to compare them because obviously totally different, but like he has some OV in him where he's just like a big power forward that like is a natural goal scorer. And I just think of all the old NHL video games when I think of Rick Nash.
Yeah.
Oh, for sure. Not really related to statistics, but he made TPS cool. TPS is a throwback brand. You guys remember them? TPS Louisville. He had the gloves and the stick. I had a TPS stick in like 2008.
I think my brother still has one.
Yeah, I literally had it because of Rick Nash because he made TPS cool. So one of the few guys who could pull that off, and probably like the best Blue Jackets player to ever play, I would say.
Yeah, for sure.
Definitely so far. Yeah.
Yeah. So well deserved. Good guy.
Yeah. We already broke down the Caps Penguins first game, but we do have some stuff to get to with the Ducks. We talked about how hot they were, but I think it's also worth noting that their GM, Bob Murray, resigned from his position and is going to enter an alcohol abuse program. The team announced that last Wednesday. The Ducks placed him on leave last Tuesday amid an investigation into his professional conduct, and Jeff Solomon will serve as Anaheim's interim GM. So we just want to wish Bob all the best. Send the best to his and his family, and hope he gets the help that he needs. Leo Komarov. This guy officially left the New York Islanders in an Instagram post on Sunday. That was yesterday, after he officially signed with SKA St. Petersburg of the KHL. He played just one game for the Islanders this season, and I believe they put him on waivers at some point with the purpose of terminating his contract, right?
Rip Uncle Leo.
Yeah, Uncle Leo.
I did see the post kind of all of a sudden, but hey, man, if reminds me of the Patrick Berglund situation a couple years back with Buffalo. So, he feels like he's got to go home. So, who are we to? I ain't gonna
Komarov,
judge.
I mean, a lot of people like the guy. I think he was kind of a clown of an NHL player, to be honest. He was always running around trying to
Honey badger, pit,
Yeah.
kind of a, what's the word I'm looking for? Rat, I guess.
Yeah,
A little bit
he
of a rat.
belongs like on like the Flyers or something like that. But
That would be a good fit. I'm glad
Poor
that we
man's
didn't have to see that.
Poor man's Konechny.
But
kind
like,
of.
unfortunately, like because he's such a dick out there, like he like ends up kind of being effective in a lot of ways. So like I understand why the Islanders like for so long kept him around, but yeah, it's time for Uncle Leo to not be in the NHL anymore. That's my stance on it.
Yeah. I am going to miss just when he's on the Islanders because his name's Leo, because of Seinfeld, the humor just writes itself. So I will certainly miss that. Did you guys see Torts' comments about Connor McDavid the other night?
Yeah.
He said he believes that McDavid is going to have to alter his game come playoff time. The longtime head coach, now working as an analyst on ESPN's The Point, says that despite McDavid's skill, a commitment to defense is the only thing that will get the league's most dynamic player a Stanley Cup. I do think he has to change his game a bit, not turn into a checker, obviously, Tortorella said per ESPN. He's talked about culture. He's talked about standards. He's talked about winning. You're not just going to fill the net during the playoffs and outscore teams. You have to play on the other side of the puck. You have to have that business type attitude, or nothing's going to bother me no matter how you're going to check me kind of mentality. So that's a straight quote from Torts. What do you guys think about that?
Don't think he'll be coaching. I don't think he'll be coaching the Oilers anytime soon, but yeah, I guess I get what he's saying. Like, you're not going to be scoring like end-to-end breakaway goals, schooling Ole Mata like every night. I get what he's saying. You're going to have to play Vegas, who's going to be just a pain in the balls to play against defensively, offensively, possession-wise. But I think I don't know the context of this. Did someone ask Torts a question and he just kind of had to respond and make
Probably.
something? This is probably just a content filler. I wouldn't read into it that much.
Yeah. And now for the greatest transition in sports media, Connor McDavid has become the 6th fastest player in NHL history to score 600 points.
Mac, did you have a comment on Torts?
Not really. I mean, I was just gonna say I do kind of understand what he's saying, and I mean that's definitely why the Oilers didn't do well last year in the playoffs, because I mean he was the only one scoring. Nobody was playing defense, including him, and yeah.
I understand what Torts is saying. He's saying that as a team, you can't just boat race people. Like, you can't expect to outscore teams 10-1 in the playoffs and win the Stanley Cup.
You might win like a series that way, but you're not
right.
going to win 4 of them.
You're not going to win 4 of them. Now, of course, because this gets printed and written down, it's now going to be turned into Torts criticizes McDavid, says he specifically has to change his game to win the Stanley Cup. No, it's the whole team that has to do that. So,
right.
As I said, McDavid is the 6th fastest player in NHL history to score 600 points. He did that behind Gretzky, Lemieux, Peter Snasty, Mike Bossy, Yari Curry, and then himself, who did it in 421 games. That's pretty damn impressive.
Yeah. To put it in perspective, I think they said Crosby did it in 430, and then Lindros did it in 426 or something like that. So
yep.
Pretty damn good company to be in, and was only 2 games away from getting to Curry. So
yeah,
that's pretty nuts when you think about it, especially in the modern era.
Yeah. When you think about especially with Gretzky and Curry, I mean, the numbers that they were putting up, yes, they scored a lot more back then, but they also they just put up absurd numbers, those two on that Oilers team. So yeah, that's definitely nothing to sneeze at. 3 stars of the week. Troy Terry. 3 goals, 3 assists, continues his point streak. I think that's fantastic. Charlie McAvoy, 2 goals, 5 assists for 7 points. He looks solid. And then Ovi, first star of the week, 2 goals, 6 assists, 8 points. That's great. What do you guys think about those?
think it's great, but I think one guy I want to talk about who seems like he's the underdog star of the year so far is Evgeny Kuznetsov. You two are the Caps fans. I know people wanted his head chopped off in the offseason, but he is 5th in the league in scoring right now. What are your thoughts?
I was going to say actually earlier this episode, I had that thought of just like how badly I wanted this guy traded last year. And I'm honestly glad that we waited him out a little bit because he's been possibly our best player besides Ovi this year. He looks like he's in, normal Kuzi form, and I'm happy to see that.
Yeah, it's been a nice breath of fresh air. I just, this is exactly what the Caps need to see from him, especially with Backstrom hurt and Oshie hurt and Mantha hurt. This is what he needs to do. He needs to be stepping up, scoring goals like he did last night, making awesome breakout passes like he did last night. He sent in Wilson on that beautiful breakout pass. So yeah, I just hope that this kind of stuff continues and love the season that he's having so far. Hands down, I think he's been one of the best players in the last 2 weeks for sure.
Also, back to the 3 stars of the week, Troy Terry, definitely worth talking about. I know we talked a little bit about him with Anaheim, and if you've been following us online, you've seen that Harry's been big on him with his to score a point, which was only minus 120 last night to get 1 point.
Insane value.
Yeah, that's great.
And he gets multiple point games a lot. And I know that those odds are fat. Last night, it was like plus 260 for him to get 2 points.
Right. Charlie Mcavoy, much as I hate to say it, he's been good as well. Not going to have 7 points in 1 week and turn out to have a pretty good season. So Ovechkin, we've been jerking him off the whole fucking podcast already, basically. But he's, God tier. Like Harry said, he's on another planet right now. So
he needs to be tested for something. I don't know what the fuck.
All you're going to find is Dr. Pepper and Alfredo sauce in there, baby.
It's like some like Russian elk and like meat that he's got that's got like DNA of like animals in it or some shit. I don't know.
Probably.
Harry, Harry, serious question. Do you want him to break Gretzky's record? Like, are you rooting for that? Or are you actively not rooting for it? Or you just not give a shit or what?
I don't really care. I'm actually, so if you would have asked, I'm just being perfectly honest. If you would have asked, let's say 14 to 17-year-old Harrison, like that question, I would have said absolutely not. Like, I can't.
Yeah.
As I've gotten older, and I feel like, and it's sad to say, but I feel like the rivalry between the two has kind of softened a little bit over the past maybe 2 seasons. Maybe COVID has something to do with that. I don't know. It would be cool to say that I was alive for that. And I also think it would be awesome for hockey. It'd probably be, I shouldn't say probably, be really awesome for us. As guys who are local, a lot of Caps fans listen, gives us storylines. But yeah, I guess you could say I wouldn't say I'm rooting for it, but it would be really cool to see, and I'm not going to root against it.
Sure. I think that would be the biggest record out of the major 4 sports to fall in like the last 10, 15, 20 years.
Easily.
Yes, I would say it's right there with Brady and like
and the touchdown record.
That's fair. That's fair.
Well, 7, touchdown.
No, I was gonna say Super Bowls too.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, it's right there. It's pretty fucking impressive if you consider the era we're in and the goalies and the defensemen and coaching. It's crazy what he's doing.
Yeah.
Really
if you want to watch a good breakdown video of that, go check out the Hockey Guy on YouTube. Watch his video. He just put one out, I think either yesterday or this morning, breaking down Ovi's pursuit of Gretzky's record, and he's got some pretty serious numbers in there that I think are worth looking at.
While we're talking about Ovi, one more cool thing that I can add today. You guys might have seen this on Twitter, but yesterday marked the 20-year anniversary of a 16-year-old Ovechkin playing his first pro game with Dynamo. So there was a cool picture of him in the Moscow Dynamo uniform as a 16-year-old in 2001
playing against men.
Yeah.
Crazy.
So, yeah. Pretty dope.
Let's go ahead and move on to some miscellaneous stuff. But before we do, we just want to remind everyone that summer may be over, but there's still never been a better time to get out on the water. Are you looking to finance that new boat or yacht you've always dreamed of? Well, you're in luck because the yacht lender is going to Mexico. Is a specialist in marine finance. With partnerships with 15 different banks, he is the right lender for whatever vessel you may be in the market for. Backed by Trident Funding with over 25 years as an industry leader, the Yacht Lender has the expertise and know how to finance the boat of your dreams. Don't wait. Apply today at www.yachtlender.com or check him out on Instagram at yachtlender to see others who have already gotten out on the water. That's a little shout out to our buddy Yacht Lender, who's going to be taking a trip here soon. So just want to wish him the best of luck down Mexico way.
Definitely going to be needing the best of luck. I'll be supervising. His birthday is while we're down there, so that should be fun.
That's not good.
The day after
That's
the
gonna be a
Ravens play.
nightmare.
Okay.
Oh,
Yeah, that's
God.
going to be bad. Don't get him a boat. I feel like, you feel like he's been working with boats all day. It's like if I come home, the last thing I want to see is another one. He's probably good.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if a boat's in the cards after the NASCAR race credit card bill, but we're definitely racing for it. So I'll keep you guys updated.
Yeah, please do with the stuff that you can say on the air.
Sure.
We have some injury signings and trades to get to. Braden Coburn retired. He was selected by the Thrashers in the first round, 8th overall of the 2003 draft. What a draft that was, by the way. Coburn scored 234 points, 49 goals, and 185 assists in 983 regular season games with the Thrashers, Flyers, Lightning, Senators, and Islanders. So hats off, great career, absolute prick to play against.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he was always pretty good player. And also, I guess he's probably 35, 36 now or something like that.
Yeah.
I guess that's not too early. Fair enough.
Threw him with Willie in game 7 of Caps Lightning during the cup run, I believe.
Yep.
Yeah, I do remember that.
True.
As I mentioned a bit earlier, Vancouver Canucks defenseman Tucker Poolman has been suspended for 2 games for swinging his stick at the head of Colorado Avalanche forward Kiefer Sherwood on Thursday night. Referees ejected Poolman immediately and handed him a 10-minute match penalty. Sherwood managed to stay in the game. If you want to go see the video, go look it up. I could try and describe it on here, but that would just be bad radio. Nathan McKinnon is going to be out for 3 weeks with a lower body injury. The Senators' Eric Brandstrom is going to be out for 6 to 8 weeks with a broken hand. That's not great. I think the only silver lining there is that their next 3 games have been canceled, and that's 3 less games they have to play with Eric Brandstrom not in the lineup. And the Washington Capitals, this is a big one. They re-signed forward Nick Dowd to a 3-year deal carrying an AAV of $1.3 million. So hats off to Dowder. I mean, that's awesome.
Yeah, I love that one. I know he hasn't been super effective this year so far, but he's been battling some injuries. And, I think for the price of 1.3 for the next 3 years, I love that signing. He's going to be a great 4th line center for us for the next 3 years. I fully expect that.
For the price of my sanity when it comes to the face-off dot, that's worth it. So let's go ahead and hop into some gambling stuff for this episode. But before we do, I think Mac wants to tell everyone a little bit about Sharp Rank.
Yeah, I just want to remind you guys that this season, all of our picks are powered by Sharp Rank. Sharp Rank created the first ever cross-sport rating system, ranking bettors from any sport on one leaderboard that anyone can dominate, even you. Sharp Rank is backed by some of the biggest names in sports gambling world, such as BetMGM, Betway, and Sports Illustrated. Download the free app for Android and iPhone today. And now, some gambling.
One quick note off that ad read. We know that those of you who have downloaded Sharp Rank so far, hockey and NHL has not been available on the platform yet. That is going to change in the very near future, we're being told. So once that happens, we're going to stop tweeting all of our picks and be using that app. We'll still tweet it out, but it'll probably be screenshots from the app if I had to guess. We'll still give our analysis on Twitter and all of that, but just wanted to keep you guys updated. NHL betting is going to be coming to Sharp Rank very soon. NFL is already on there, so if you're into that, go check it out. They keep all the records of the Sharps on there, so helps you make some choices. All right. So, and if you guys have anything to add, please feel free. We already talked about Vancouver and how bad they've been so far, and the worst just keeps getting worse. They are 2-7 in their last 9 games. They are 1-6 this season against teams with a winning record, and they've been outscored 19-6 in their last 3 contests. So
Jesus Christ, I didn't know it was that bad.
It's a minus 14 goal differential too for that team.
Math guy, good stuff. Actually, isn't it 13? 19 minus 6.
Their collective total as a whole for the
Oh.
season.
Gotcha. Okay. I just wasn't going to let you get away with that one if you were doing that one wrong.
Also worth noting while we're talking about how shitty they are, their next game is against the Colorado Avalanche on Wednesday. So I kind of highly doubt that it's going to get better soon.
Yeah.
Yeah, I doubt it too. So they just had 2 games over the weekend. They played Vegas on Saturday night, and then they played Anaheim yesterday, which we made some bank off of. That was a nice win. My point in that is that their backup Halak has not looked as good as he has in years prior. Demko's doing everything he can, but he can only do so much. And that 1-6 record against teams with a winning record is definitely something to keep an eye on. So I would be betting against the Canucks right now as what's the word I'm looking for? I guess they're my target, go for anybody who's playing against them with how bad
they're
they are
your
right
version
now.
of the Jets.
Yeah.
Honestly, the Colorado puck line is probably going to be like even or maybe even like minus 120 on Wednesday.
Yeah.
Yeah. And maybe with McKinnon out, it helps the value. I have no idea. You're probably still right. But that contest on Wednesday is definitely one to keep an eye on. So betting against Vancouver is something we like right now. And like I just said, we hammered Anaheim last night on puck line, money line, Troy Terry bet, all 3 hit. So that was nice. Calgary. Let's talk a little bit about them. So a couple episodes ago, we had talked about Jacob Markstrom on his shutout streak. Well, Calgary is the first team since the 2008 and 2009 Canucks, ironically, to have 5 shutouts in their first 15 games of the season. Jacob Markstrom already has 4 on the year so far. So I say this, shutouts usually mean unders. It's rare that you're going to have a team put up 6. Right? I mean, 6-0 is not a common score. It could be
6-1 is.
Shut up. Puck lines are the other thing I was going to go with. If you're shutting a team out, most games aren't going 1-0. You're probably going to put up multi-goal games. So Calgary puck line and Calgary unders are something to keep an eye on here.
Yeah, I like that a lot. I mean, they're outscoring team. They're scoring 16 more goals right now than any other team that they're playing against. So their goal differential's at a +16. This is a team that can put the puck in the back of the net and then stop you from doing that. I think that's a great call.
Good thinking.
Our next bet, Leon Dreissital. So yes, he's leading the league in points by a lot, and he is on absolute fire right now. But this stat is as of 2 days ago. I know they played. Who did they play last night? They won it, and it was like a 5-4 game in overtime.
They played St. Louis.
Can you check if Leon had 3 points in that game?
He had a goal. He had
An assist.
Yeah, he had a goal and 2 assists.
So he had 3 points.
Yep, he did.
So he now has at least
with that 3... second assist coming with 30 seconds left in regulation on a game-winning goal.
Okay, so forget the 1.5. That's out the window here, folks. We're going 2.5. Now we're talking real money. Leon Dreissital, with that stat that Mac just told us, has at least 3 points or more in 8 of his 13 games so far this season. That is fucking insane.
Wow.
I'm no mathematician. Someone can get that percentage, but that's probably around 60% of the games he plays in. He's getting at least 3 points.
Just about.
That is nuts. So with that, I give you the Leon 2.5 bet. We have Connor at 1.5. I think it's time we graduate Leon to the 2.5 status. So yeah, I mean, at 60%, I know it sounds crazy, but especially if they're at home, I feel like that's the kicker for me.
It's going to be plus. It's going to be plus value every time, no matter how much he keeps doing it. It's going to be plus value every time.
You should get 2.5. Somewhere in the plus 200 to 250
You would
range.
think so.
Yeah, I would hope so, right?
There's no way that's dropping under plus 200.
It can't be.
Yeah. No, because 1.5 is usually around minus 120-ish.
Because the thing is, no matter how many times you score 3 points in one game, it doesn't get any easier to do it again. Like it's still an incredible feat every time he does it. So I don't think it's dropping under plus 200. But
so Leon over 2.5 is hitting 60% of the time so far this season. Take that to the bank. And then McDavid over 1.5. We're still rolling with it. You can't not. Yeah. That's our trademark. That's our claim to fame. If anybody listens to this podcast at all, hopefully they take away from this McDavid 1.5 on the air, because that's been the easiest thing to do so far. Islanders and Tampa Bay. So let's talk about this. Unfortunately, this episode won't publish until Tuesday the 16th, probably, maybe Wednesday, I don't know. But today on the 15th, I tweeted it out. The Islanders and Tampa. I've been talking about Tampa first period unders all season long. Now the Islanders are on that trend. They are 30th and 31st in the league in goals scored in the first period. So taking those two teams who are good teams. Usually I'd say Vegas favors the over in the first period because, well, maybe not the Islanders, but definitely Tampa because they're known to be high scoring historically. First period unders for these two guys is a great bet right now, especially given the stat I just gave out, 30th and 31st in the league in first period goals scored. They do play tonight. I will be taking that. I think the odds are in our favor, minus 120, I believe. So if Sorokin and Vasi are in net, that's really the key.
I'm interested to see how that stat changes or doesn't change when the Islanders start playing at home.
Right. And for those of you who don't know, the Islanders start the season on a 13-game road trip. They're still on the road.
They are.
I was looking at that. Today is their second to last. They're almost done. So they play their 12th and 13th straight road games today and tomorrow, I believe, or maybe the day after tomorrow. But they have a Florida road trip, basically. So they're playing Tampa and then the Cats, and then they finally get to come home. I believe their first home game is Saturday. So that could be an interesting one to bet on as well.
Yeah, definitely keep an eye on that. I can't remember who I saw on Instagram today, but one of the Islanders fans that we follow had the date circled on his calendar, and I thought that was pretty funny.
I mean, I would have to think it's going to be a crazy homecoming, and they're going to want to win that game in their own barn. Whether they will or not, we'll see. But
it's in the new arena too. Am I wrong on that?
It is. Yeah. That's the whole point of the delay, was to get the new one finished up, which, by the way, if you guys haven't seen, I've seen some pictures. It looks incredible.
You know what I did see a picture of is that orange and blue buffalo chicken sandwich. They color dyed the bread. What are your thoughts on that? It's literally like orange and blue striped. Kind of looks gross, but it's.
Can you find a picture of this real quick?
Yeah, I need to see that. That's insane.
Check.
Wait, so the bun is like, it's like
blue?
Someone spray painted it blue.
Hang
like,
on.
like in the Pretty Patties episode of SpongeBob when he makes like all the Krabby Patties different colors.
Hang on, I'll find it. In the meantime, do you guys want to read off the next stat?
Yeah, Troy Terry to get a point, usually around minus 120. It's been easy money with him as of late. Yeah, you might miss one or two games here or there, but as I mentioned, if you want to double down on him, he's great at multi-point games too, and his value to get 2 points is incredible.
Talking about Terry, sorry, I was looking at this.
Okay, now let's see this buffalo chicken sandwich.
Bad radio, but
yeah. What the hell is that?
What the fuck? Okay, that is.
I mean, it's just food coloring, but like it's just like mold is blue. Mold's blue.
I
it
don't
looks
like
moldy.
that.
Yeah, on blue's not a good color on bread.
On food at all, it's really not.
Yeah, in general, I'd probably stay clear of that. But moving on, I guess if you use some ranch, maybe I don't know. I'm not even gonna speculate. Did we talk about first period overs with the Caps, Flames, and Oilers?
No.
Okay, so the Caps, Flames, and Oilers right now are all tied for first place in the NHL in first period goals scored. They all have 17 on the season so far. We know Edmonton is just an offensive powerhouse right now. They're averaging over 4 goals per game. There's nothing you can do about that. Calgary and Washington, 2 of the hottest teams in the league, and clearly in the first period. So I would keep an eye on first period overs for these guys. I
just like Oilers overs in general. Like they're that team they'll score 6, but they'll let in 4, or they'll score 5, but they'll let in 3.
Right. Yeah. I mean, their power plays, I think, at 41% right now, which is absolutely insane. So they're definitely putting up numbers for sure. The overs are a great bet. Nick already touched on Troy Terry. That's probably the best value prop bet you can get in the NHL right now, I would say. It's kind of a crime that Vegas has it at minus 120 for one. I can't believe that. Now that I said that, they'll probably change it. Seattle, they stink. I've lost a lot of money on them this year in one game, which sucked, but they do suck. They've lost 4 straight. They're second in the league behind Arizona in penalty minutes this year. They're playing shorthanded a lot. You know, they already don't have a superstar as is. You get the depth guys playing a ton of minutes on the PK, and then you get your stars who aren't that talented to begin with. maybe betting against Seattle is the way to go right now.
I'm
The
also
value's
hearing
decent.
already that their captain Giordano might want out by the trade deadline. So
Ooh.
Could be
Breaking
interesting.
news.
I think someone will throw money at that.
Yeah, I could think of a team who needs some defense. And then speaking of team who needs defense, spoiler alert, Pittsburgh. If Casey DeSmith is in net, hammer the other team because he stinks. So that's all I got.
Yeah, good stuff in there. One last thing I'll say is keep an eye on Tyler Bertuzzi to get 3 shots on goal. That one's still good. It's not as consistent as it was at the start of the year, but if it's against a team that sucks, and let's be real, anytime that guy's on the puck, he's shooting. It's still a good bang for your buck.
Absolutely.
Standings update and some team trends. So just if the playoffs started today, this is what it would look like. From the Central, you have 1 through 3, Minnesota, Winnipeg, and Nashville. From the Pacific, you have Edmonton, Anaheim, and Calgary. And then the 2 wildcard teams from the West would be St. Louis and Vegas. From the East and the Atlantic, you got Florida, Toronto, and Detroit. From the Metro, you would get Carolina, Washington, and the Rangers. And then you would get Tampa Bay and New Jersey as your wild cards. Little bit surprising here, I think, especially when you look at the West, but even the East, there's some surprises there. I mean, Detroit would get in if the playoffs started today. I know this is so early, but still, I think it's worth talking about.
Yeah, I don't expect Anaheim to be a playoff team, but could be wrong with how hot they are right now and how good Terry is. I don't expect New Jersey or Detroit to be a playoff team. I don't think New Jersey will at all. I do think there's a slight chance in hell that Detroit could actually like keep this hot streak up and somehow squeeze into the playoffs. Slight chance. But the big thing to look at in the East there, Harry said it the other day, is that the Penguins and the Islanders are off to a very slow start. Yes, but knowing both of those teams, it's not going to stay that way the whole season. They're going to make a push at some point when the Penguins get all their guys back, when the Islanders figure out what the hell's going on. Those 2 teams are going to be good teams. The Islanders, I would say almost for sure, are going to be a playoff team. Penguins probably, maybe, we'll see. But I don't know. I don't expect either of these sides to finish the way they look right now, but it's definitely interesting to look at.
So 2 thoughts. One, what are the Flyers going to do? That's the wild card team. And I mean wild card, not literally, but like figuratively. Like, what are the Philadelphia Flyers? I don't know if this was mentioned in the injuries report, but Ryan Ellis is out, but they do get Kevin Hayes back. I don't know what the Flyers are. Like, I can't figure them out. So they could be a spoiler team who ruins someone's season. They could also be, the first seed in the Metro by the end of the season. I have no idea what to think. And Colorado not being in that Western picture right now, you got to think that's going to change eventually. I know it's been a wild start with injuries, COVID, now injuries again. It's been tough. I don't know. That's the 2 big thoughts that I have right now.
Yeah, I mean, Vegas as that second wild card spot is surprising. I know they've had a ton of injuries to deal with. Jersey getting in, that's one that sticks out to me. I know, Mac, you touched on Detroit. I agree. I give them a very, very slim chance in hell, but I see that one as a little bit more feasible than the Ducks. Calgary right now, I think you're going, yeah, you deserve that 3rd spot in the Pacific right now, maybe even the 2nd spot. So I don't know if Edmonton will stay up there. I think we might see them slow down at some point. I think we might see Toronto slow down at some point. I fully expect the Islanders and the Penguins to make big recoveries here and make up some ground.
The one thing I would say is I would flip-flop Mac's take as my take. I'm a little more confident in New Jersey to keep pace and maybe push the pace than Detroit. I think that they have a little more of a young team, not as young as Detroit. And once they get Jack Hughes back, I could see that being a huge factor for them. They look good. I mean, they really do. Jesper Bratt is slept on so much.
And so is Sharon Govich. They've got so many players that are just so talented.
Saka is having a great year so far too.
And Heischer's back now too.
Yeah.
Oh, really? I didn't realize that. Also, I will say, I think it's the consensus that the most shocking, quote unquote, playoff teams right now would be Anaheim, New Jersey, and Detroit. But out of those 3, I actually think Anaheim is truly the best team of those 3. And that's just because they got John Gibson. He's actually a very, very good goalie.
And somewhat decent back end too.
Yeah, they could actually be like a wild card team. It's possible that we have underestimated the Ducks, but also I just feel like they're like a fake hockey team. I've been to a Ducks game. I was actually talking about this with my sister today because she's going to the Kings game in LA this week. But I went to an Anaheim game one time, and my sister said it best. It felt like all the fans had been paid to be there. Like, it was such a strange,
Interesting.
atmosphere. Everybody there seemed so like uninterested in like what was happening. Granted, they were dog shit, like worse than they are right now. It was like 2 years ago, so who knows? But
Bunch of open seats last night.
Yeah, and this is gonna sound dumb. I feel like they're one of those fan bases where they're good, it's like, oh my god, this is sick, and when they're not, it's like, who cares? Kind of like Carolina a little bit, and that's common. I mean, I know that's an obvious statement. The one last thing I want to say, and I mean it this time, last thing I'll say. Wow, was I wrong about Minnesota? Holy shit, they look great. And I said in our season previews that I was not a big fan of Ryan Hartman as that second line center, and he's leading the team in scoring with 7 goals and 4 assists so far. So that one went right up my ass. But other than that, I'm doing fine.
I think the NHL, like, I think it would be really good for the NHL if they went on like a deep playoff run.
I do too. And just Minnesota in general. I mean, the Vikings fucking suck. And it's the whole stupid skull shit. It's the dumbest thing I've ever seen. But I'll leave that for another time. Mac, I don't know much about baseball, but I don't think the Twins have been all that good recently.
they made a push like 2 years ago, if I'm not mistaken, but since then they really haven't had much going on.
And the Timberwolves suck, so
Yeah.
I think. I don't know. I haven't heard anything, so I'm just gonna assume. Okay, rant time. ESPN coverage of hockey sucks. I'm sorry. I said it wasn't bad last week. It sucks. There's too much going on at ESPN for them to be covering hockey. They give it no time whatsoever. And the fact that I'm saying that for the 30 minutes a day I watch SportsCenter, I haven't heard about the Timberwolves, that should tell you something. You never hear about hockey, so nobody knows anything. That's all I'm going to say.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. It sucks.
Yeah. That's all I have for gambling. If that's all you guys have, I think I'm all set.
Yeah, I'm good.
We just want to remind everyone to go check out the fall merch. I know that, you're probably being dragged to like go apple picking or to like go sit outside at a vineyard somewhere and take pictures while your significant other wears like a hat and boots and flannel and, all that stuff. So you could really, make that experience a lot more enjoyable by wearing some fall like comfort colors, empty betters type gear. It'll keep you warm. You'll be looking great. So that way, when she posts those pictures, everyone goes, oh shit, I don't care about the hat and the boots. Where did you get that hoodie? Where did you get that crew neck? Go check it out. Go buy it. Not only will it make your life better, it'll make your fall activities better. So go check it out.
Couldn't agree more. And I'm going to nerd out a little bit here, but one of the biggest complaints that I hear people have with hoodies is that stupid elastic band at the bottom, right? What I've noticed with our hoodies and our Adidas crews, that elastic band, no matter how many times you stick that thing in the dryer, it's not going to stick to your stomach and start squeezing you. It fits nice. It's not going to like tighten up. If that's sells you on it, then I did my job. So whatever.
Sold.
Yeah. And then once again, the giveaway, just check out the Instagram page for that. We mentioned some of the rules and some of the rewards earlier. So go look at our Instagram to enter the giveaway. And other than that, any final notes, fellas?
Nope.
All good. All right, everybody. Well, we appreciate the support. And without further ado,
Class dismissed.